Hello everyone. This video is about the Ball poem by John Berryman, a detailed discussion and the literary devices. Let us first read the poem.
What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball is worthless. Now he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy. And no one buys a ball back. Money is external. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up.
If you want to have a further discussion on the topic in a live session with me, kindly write to me at englishwithsushmita@gmail.com and I will inform you whenever I have my live session next. Thank you.
What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. So here the poet is looking at a boy who has lost his ball. And the poet thinks to himself that what is the boy going to do now? The poet is not actually talking to the boy here. He is just thinking to himself that what the boy is going to do now when he has lost his ball. The poet says, I saw it go merrily bouncing. So the ball happily went bouncing first down the street and then merrily over there in the water, in some nearby water body where the boy was standing. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. So here, this is harbor. Harbor is just a parking area or a loading, unloading area for ships and boats. And this is where the boy's ball has gone. So the water body into which the ball has gone is maybe sea or ocean. The poet here says that it is no use to tell the boy. There is no use consoling the boy by saying that, okay, there are other balls and there will be, he will be getting more other balls. Because here, this is not just a ball. Here, ball is a metaphor for all the childhood memories, the childhood days of the poet, the memories, or maybe the memories attached with the ball. So, ball here is a metaphor for his childhood memories when he was a young boy. He was very young. So as the ball has gone down, the poet feels that it is no use telling him that there are other balls because the boy is feeling very sad. He is completely surrounded by sorrow. So as he stands rigid without moving, he is fixed to a place and there he is trembling. He is trembling because of his loss and he considers this as a very deep loss. And he is continuously staring down and he is staring down at the river or the sea where the ball has gone down and all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. Now, why is he sad? Because all the memories of his childhood days, they went down the harbor with the ball. Young days. Now, here, young days means memories of the young days. They have gone into the harbor with the ball. And this loss is extremely unbearable for him. He is grief stricken, and that is why he is standing there rigid, without moving, shaking with grief, and he is staring down to the ball which has gone into the harbor. I would not intrude on him. So the poet wants to leave him alone. He doesn't want to disturb him. He doesn't want to say anything to him. So I would not intrude on him by saying a dime. Now dime is currency, and here it means money, right? So the poet says that he doesn't want to disturb him in his moment of loss by saying that a dime is there or another ball is there, because the poet knows that a dime, another ball is worthless. And why does he say that money and other ball is worthless? Because here ball doesn't just mean a simple ball. It means his memories of his childhood days. And you cannot buy memories of, and especially happy childhood days, right? Because money cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy memories. So if there is another ball, it won't be same as that. So the poet says that this is all useless. Money or any other ball, which here is metaphor for childhood memories, happy childhood days. So it is all worthless because money cannot buy happiness. Now, why does the poet say, I would not intrude on him? Why does the poet say he will not disturb him? Because now he senses his first responsibility. Because now this is for the first time. This is for the first time that the boy has experienced loss and learns to be more responsible. So here responsibility means maturity. So he is gradually now going to mature and realize that loss is inevitable, and also the responsibility of taking care of his things. So this is the first time that the boy has lost something, so which the poet has noticed, and this is the reason why the boy is so grief stricken, that he is standing there rigid, trembling, and just looking down at the ball that has now gone into the harbor. In a world of possessions, people will take balls and balls will be lost always, little boy. And no one buys a ball back. Money is external. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. The poet here says that in this world of possessions, loss is inevitable. World of possession means materialistic world. So many of the belongings will be lost. May it be the worldly things or relationships. You know, there is making of relationships, breaking of relationships. You lose things, but you cannot be so severely attached to them so that they stop you from moving ahead in life. So this is what the poet is saying, that you know, the balls will be lost. You will be losing things in life. You will be losing loved ones. You will be losing possessions, right? And no one buys a ball back. What does that mean? Is that because whatever memories are attached, like I said, ball here is not just a simple ball, literally. Ball here is a metaphor for happiness, for his memories which are attached with his childhood days. So no one buys a ball back because you cannot buy memories. Money is external. So here the poet calls money to be external. External means it is not going to be of any help to buy his memories back. But what has happened as a result of this incident, as a result of this loss? He is learning. He is learning to become responsible. He is learning to mature up. This responsibility is going to mature him, right? To accept loss well behind his desperate eyes. So at that moment, the boy seems desperate. He wants his ball back. That is visible to the poet in the boy's eyes. He is really desperate to get his ball, that is his memories or whatsoever he has lost. He wants it back. But No one buys a ball back. So once you have lost your memories, or maybe a relationship or a loved one, it is next to impossible to get it back or to replace. You cannot replace something like memories. But poet says that the boy is learning the epistemology of loss. What does epistemology mean? Epistemology means knowledge. Knowledge of loss means that now he learns that there is something called loss. He comes to know that there is something called loss, and how to stand up in the face of loss. Be courageous and accept loss and move on in life. Knowing, and what has he learnt now? Knowing what every man must one day know. All of us, we all have experienced loss in life, one loss or the other. So every man has to experience loss. May it be in a materialistic possession, may it be a relationship. So every human has to experience loss. So the boy has to now learn this, and with this experience he has gained the knowledge of something called loss. Epistemology, knowledge of loss. He has now come to know that there is something called loss. You lose things. So that is what every man means human being, so what every man has to one day learn, and most know many days. And most of us know this, that loss is going to be there many days, and how to stand up, courageous, how to stand up against the odd miseries of life. And everybody has to bear loss and stand courageous, accept loss, and move on with our life. That is what the knowledge of loss, this incident, had made the boy gain. Now coming to three important things: the theme, tone, and message of the poem. Now what is the meaning of theme? What do you mean by theme? Now theme are the ideas that the poet is trying to give through the poem. I'm going to explain it and things will be clearer further. Message. Now through different ideas the poet gives a message. The message the poet wishes to convey, message or the moral of the poem. And then tone is, what was the mood of the poet when he was writing this poem. So there can be different types of tones, like there can be sad tones, excited, nostalgic. If the poet is, remembering something, so nostalgic tone. There can be tone of excitement. It can be a depressing tone. So these are the different tones, the emotion at the time when the poet was writing that poem. So let's talk about the theme. There are two major themes that have been dealt with. That is, one is loss. Now, as very clearly evident, loss has been dealt with in two ways. One is the loss of loved ones or possessions or memories that the poet has talked about in this poem. And then, of course, maturity, because the child has now gained this new knowledge that loss is inevitable. Everybody has to go through one loss or the other, loss of different kinds, but one's life does not stop. When you lose someone, you don't stop living, right? The life goes on. So to understand this, that loss is inevitable, everybody has to go through loss, makes the person mature. And this is what is happening. Like, he senses his first responsibility. Responsibility here means maturity. He is now becoming more responsible. One is to take proper care of his belongings, that if because of his irresponsibility, like even in relationships, we at times behave irresponsible and lose relationships, right? So this is what the child is now gradually going to start learning. This is his first responsibility. He is learning. He has gained some knowledge of loss. This is his first knowledge of loss, and which is going to pave a way to his maturity. He is now going to become more mature. Coming to the tone. Now the tone here is very, very clear. The tone of the poet is sad. The poet is very sad when he is writing this poem, when he wrote this poem, because he saw the boy and the boy was sad. The tone of the poet here is, that is why, sad. So in the beginning it is sad, and later on it changes to a positive tone. In the end it becomes solemn. Solemn means it becomes a little, serious towards the end. It's a solemn tone. It becomes a little serious towards the end, where the poet talks about something positive that the boy has taken from this incident of loss. He is moving towards maturity. So towards the end it is no more sad. It is a serious tone. It's a solemn tone towards the end, when he is talking about the positive outcome of this sad incident. And what is the message that the poem wishes to convey? The poet wants to give the message that loss is the harsh reality of life, and we need to stand up strong to adverse situations in our life and move on. That loss is inevitable. There is nobody in this world who has not lost one thing or the other. And this is the message that the poet wishes to convey, is that we need to stand up courageous in the face of this inevitable phenomena that is loss, and we have to move on with our life. That is what makes us responsible and mature. Moving on to the literary devices that the poet has used in the poem. Let's see the first stanza. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street, and then merrily over, there it is in the water. So we see here the first device, the very first device, that is ball. So this poem is an extended metaphor where the boy's childhood memories, possessions, relations have been assumed to be the ball. This is metaphor. Anaphora. What is anaphora? Anaphora is the repeated use of words in two or more lines. Like if you see here, this what, use of what in the beginning of the first two lines. What is the boy now, and what is he to do, is the same word that has been repeated in two consecutive lines. This is called anaphora. Repetition is here in the second line. If you see, repetition of the word what, this is called repetition. Alliteration. Alliteration is initial sounds in a string of words is same or similar. Who has lost his, the repeated sound of her. This is alliteration. Personification. Now what is personification? Merrily bouncing is personification. Now how is merrily bouncing personification? Personification is when a human ability is given to a non-human object. So here the ball has been called to be happy, merry. Okay, so the human ability to be merry, to be happy is given to ball. So ball has been personified, means thought of as a human being. This is called personification. No use to say that, the second stanza, no use to say, oh, there are other balls, till he senses his first responsibility. What are the devices used by the poet in this stanza? So firstly, of course, metaphor, other balls. So the boy's childhood memories, possessions and relations have been assumed to be the ball, other balls. Here when the poet is talking about maybe, other kind of memories and all, but they will never be able to replace. So here, other balls, metaphor, childhood memories, possessions and relations have been assumed to be other balls. transferred epithet. It's a very interesting device. So what happens in transferred epithet? Here, young days. This young days is transferred epithet. All his young days have gone down into the harbor. So transferred epithet is transfer of an adjective from one noun to the other. So here the adjective young is not actually meant for days. The days are not young. Who is young? The boy. The memories of his young days. So the boy was young, not the days. So this is called transferred epithet. The adjective young is not meant for the days. It is actually meant for the boy. So this transfer of adjective from one noun to the other is called transferred epithet. Next stanza. In a world of possessions, two and most know many days how to stand up. Repetition again. Let's see here. If we see the second line, balls will be lost always. So the second line, repeated use of the word balls. In the same line, the same word has been repeated. This is called repetition. Alliteration. Again, alliteration, initial sound in a string of words is same or similar. Like buys a ball back. Sound of b, and b. Buys a ball back. Then man must. If we see here, second last line, man must. Sound of m. And lost always little boy. Here we see second line, lost little. Lost always little boy. This is alliteration. Assonance. Now what is assonance? Assonance is that when a vowel is repeated in almost all the words in a sentence, in a line, in a sentence, when one vowel is repeated in mostly all the words, this is called assonance. Like in this line, line 4 we see here, he is learning well behind his desperate eyes. So you see there is E in all the words, is desperate, and there are lots and lots of E's here. This is called assonance, the repeated use of vowel sound E. It also has another transferred epithet, desperate eyes. So here, who is actually desperate? Not the eyes. Who is desperate? The desperate is the boy. So this adjective desperate is meant for the boy, not for the eyes. This is called transferred epithet. We have antithesis. What is antithesis? Antithesis is the device in which opposites are used in the same sentence. Two opposites are used in the same sentence. So if you see the last two lines here, every man must one day know and most know many days. So these two words, one and many, they are opposites which have been used in the same sentence. If you see, the last two lines make up one sentence. So if in the same sentence we use opposite words, that is called antithesis.
Hoping that you liked the video. Meet you with my next video. Till then, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.